Okay, my student, as I promised you in the last part of this session, that we are going to start to see the figure of the receptors within the skin, which is responsible for detecting the pain that is found within the skin. So now remember, we are discussing on the kinds of the receptors based on the type of stimuli, and here we are discussing on the nociceptors, or we can call it the pain receptor. So now let's proceed. Now you can see within the skin now is where there is different kinds of receptors. Hizi receptor, moja kati ya hizo tunasema kwamba na zenyewe ziko responsible for detecting if there is any changes, that is the pain which occurring within your skin. So now as you can see here, we have these hairs, and also we have these cold receptors. In the previous session also we have been talked about thermoreceptor. So these cold receptors, it is responsible for detecting if there is a cold within the environment. And also we have the pain receptors. You can see here, this is our main concern. It is found within the skin. So pale ambapo utakuwa labda umepata shida yoyote au umepata injury within your skin, una detect the presence of pain is due to the presence of receptors which are found within your skin. So it will detect it, and thereafter it will send those impulses of pain within the central nervous system so that it can be interpreted and to provide the appropriate response. And also here you can see that we have this light touch receptor, and also we have heat receptors to detecting the presence of hotness within the environment and to react accordingly. And now this one is the structure of the skin. Since the skin, it comprises of the epidermis and the dermis. Dermis, it is the inner part of the skin, but the epidermis, it is the outer part of the skin. We're going to see all of this when we are moving further, looking on the mammalian skin. So we're going to discuss on what is the epidermis, what is the dermis, and the structure of it, and how does this work to different kinds of changes which are occurring within the environment. So here only you have to know that within your skin there is a presence of receptors. And what kind of receptor here we are talking about? We are talking about the pain receptor, or we can call it nociceptors. Not only that, we have seen also thermoreceptors. Within the skin also there is thermoreceptor. And what kind of that thermoreceptor? That is called the receptor together with the heat receptor. So my student, after we have seen nociceptors, now I would like to take you through another receptors or classification of receptor based on the type of the stimulus. And here we are going to talk about the chemoreceptor. Since mechanoreceptor, I have already finished to talk about it. So also you have to differentiate between these two terms. They are confusing terms, but you have to know, or you have to understand, because if you understand, it will be easy for you now to distinguish between these two terms, that is mechanoreceptor and chemoreceptor. So there are two kinds of receptors which are functioning independently or functioning differently. So now we have to see this chemoreceptor. Here we are saying that these chemoreceptors, these are the receptors which detect chemical stimuli such as smell, taste, and humidity. So hii chemoreceptor ambayo inapatikana either inaweza ikawa within your sense organ. It is responsible for detecting any chemical stimuli. What kind of chemical stimuli we are talking about? Here we are talking about the smell. Smell is a chemical stimuli. Ile harufu, unapata harufu mbaya au ile harufu nzuri unayosikia is due to the presence of these chemoreceptors that they detect the presence of smell, and thereafter it provide appropriate response by knowing. Wewe sasa unaweza ukajua hii ni harufu nzuri au hii ni harufu mbaya. And not only that, also we have another chemical stimuli, that is taste. Unaweza leo ukagundua hiki chakula kina ladha nzuri au ladha mbaya is due to the presence of this chemoreceptor. And also we have humidity. So now we are saying that they have the ability to respond to diverse range of chemical substances in food, nasal passage, and blood. So this one are the location of this chemoreceptor. That is, these chemoreceptors, they are diverse, meaning that they are found in different kinds of places that within your body. For example, here we are saying that these chemoreceptors, they are found within the food, and also they are found within the nasal passage, and also they are found within your blood. So now we can say that, for example, now we have the olfactory receptors in the roof of the nasal cavity can be stimulated by odors. So tunasema kwamba hizi olfactory receptors, they are responsible for detecting the smell within the environment. So the smell is a stimuli. That is the change that is occurring within the environment. So smell inakuwa ni kama stimuli. Lakini hii olfactory receptors ndiyo ambayo ina detect there is a presence of good smell, or there is a presence of foody smell, chakula, harufu ya chakula unaisikia. So these olfactory receptors ambazo zinapatikana within your nasal cavity, they are detecting the presence of it, and thereafter it will send those impulses into your central nervous system, thereby to provide the appropriate response. Also, nerves impulses from these receptors travel to the olfactory bulb. So baada sasa ya kudetect there is a presence of the smell, this chemoreceptor will send the impulse or the information into the olfactory bulb. We're going to see this olfactory bulb while we are looking on the figure 4.24. So now we are saying that when odor molecules enter the nose, they stimulate the olfactory cilia, thin hairs attached to the receptor cells, causing the nerve's impulse to pass to the olfactory bulb and then to the brain. So here we are saying that this olfactory receptor, how it works, tunasema kwamba hii olfactory receptor, after detecting the presence of odor, that is the presence of smell, ndipo ambapo sasa zile odor molecules zikiingia ndani ya nose, it will stimulate the olfactory cilia. Vile vinyweleo ambavyo vinapatikana within your nose will be stimulated, and thereafter that is a thin hairs, and thereafter attached to the receptor cells. Since zile olfactory cilia, or those thin hairs which are found within your nose, tunasema kwamba they are connected with the structure of the olfactory receptors. So that ile olfactory receptor, it detect there is a presence of odor is due to the presence of the thin hair, or we can call it olfactory cilia, which are found within your nose. And also causing the nerve's impulse to pass into the olfactory bulb. After the olfactory receptor to detect there is a presence of smell, thereafter the olfactory receptor will send the impulse to the olfactory bulb. So hile olfactory bulb ndiyo ambayo itakuwa responsible to send those impulses to the brain. So brain ndiyo ambayo itakuwa responsible kwa ajili ya kuinterpret this smell kama ni nzuri au hii smell ni mbaya. So now my students, let's see this figure so that you can understand on the olfactory receptor or chemoreceptor. My students, remember we are discussing on the chemoreceptor, and we have said that this chemoreceptor, it is there to detect the presence of chemical. And now here we are talking about chemical that is a smell. We have different kind of chemicals that are the smell, tastes, humidity, and so on. All of them, they are chemical stimuli. So now we are specifically based on the smell. so that you can get the whole concept of this chemical stimuli. So now this one is the structure of the olfactory lobe. As you can see here, within this olfactory lobe now we have this olfactory bulb. This olfactory bulb ndio tumesema kwamba ina kazi kwa ajili ya kutransfer the impulse or the information kutoka kwenye hile receptor kuenda moja kwa moja kwenye brain, so that it can be interpreted and to make response appropriate. So now here you can see this one are the bones. We have this olfactory nerves. This one are the olfactory nerves fiber. We have olfactory cell, that is olfactory cells. And also we have this olfactory hair, that is receptors. We have the mucus. So huku chini ndipo ambapo zile mucus zinatoka, lakini within it we have skin hairs, vile vinyweleo ambavyo vinapatikana within your nose. So vile vinyweleo kila mtu, yani kila mtu lazima awe navyo. Me and you have those hairs. It is there is due to detecting the presence of smell. So now after this olfactory hair to be stimulated, it will send the impulse to the olfactory cell. Thereafter it will send into the olfactory bulb. The olfactory bulb tumesema ndio ambayo iko responsible of taking the information of the impulse kutoka kwenye hilo olfactory receptor to the brain, so that it can be interpreted. So my student, we have discussed on the nociceptor, pain receptor, together with this chemical receptor. So my student, I would like to welcome you again into the next session. Is where now we are going to finalize to look on these kinds of receptors. So we're going to finalize and we're going more further to see another kind of receptor or classification of receptor. So by saying so, thank you for following us at Educare TZ. Bye bye. Have a nice moment.